Back at the Bakersfield, Californian studio, Zach Ewing and Trevor Horn here to wrap up another edition of BVarsity Live. If the second to last show is the penultimate show, I don't know what the third to last is. I wish I knew a funny triumvirate show. No, that's not right. I don't know. It's our third to last show.
Don't be a geek.
Next week, you're going to want to tune in because the state track championships are next Friday and Saturday in Clovis, and we are going to have a state track blowout. And yes, we will have. If we can get her, she's busy. Morgan Hill in studio, Isaac Trevino in studio, Bryce Huggins, almost said Braxton, Bryce Huggins in studio, and some of the other
Alyssa
top metal
Klinger,
favorites.
Alicia Viveros, Greg Richardson,
but,
Darius Smith, Marcus Watkins. You may keep going. I mean,
but and that's what I was going to say is we will have the top metal threats. We will also have some of the other top Kern County athletes who performed really well at the Central Section Championships on Saturday. Morgan Hill set a section record in the 300 hurdles, became the state leader in the 300 hurdles, 41.75. That's really fast. Isaac Trevino won by 1/100th of a second, which is ridiculous.
Over Connor Morello. And in an absolutely fantastic race, too. The way that it came down is between him, Morello, and Curtis Threadkill out of North. And Threadkill actually took the lead in the last 200 yards, and then he kind of gassed out, and then it was Morello leading the way. And then within like the last 10 yards, it was Trevino finally charging through. And if you watch, there's a still photo on Twitter where his head is just literally like that.
Yeah, you showed me that. I mean, he literally out-leaned Connor. Now, you see 1/100th of a second in a 100-meter, maybe a 200-meter every now and then. In an 800-meter,
that's incredible.
That's pretty rare. You don't see it very often in a race that long.
And it's incredible that those two are going to go head-to-head again. Probably a three-headed race against Arturo Sotomayor out of Roseville. Next Friday in the they'll see each other in the prelims, and then next Saturday in the finals. That's going to be a fun race because that's the race that's right about sundown. It's getting a little bit cooler, and that's going to be a fun one under the lights.
And the funny thing about state too is that you can sit there and say it's going to be a three-way race between these three guys. They have clearly the best times. There's always a runner or two comes out of the woodwork who's either been facing really tough competition in the southern section and just happens to be honed for the right weekend, or maybe from way up north from Wairika or somewhere where you don't even know about them, and they haven't run against anybody, and now all of a sudden against faster competition they pop off a big PR. Right. You just never know what you're going to get at the state meet. That's one of the great things about it. It's kind of like state wrestling in that way. Somebody will come out of the woodwork to challenge what you thought was the favorite in the race.
Right.
So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll preview that next Thursday. We'll come back the following Thursday, June the 11th, and kind of wrap things up for the year, talk about some of our favorite moments from the 2014-2015 school year. So that's the next 2 weeks at 2 o'clock. All done with sports except, and we should mention, Taft softball, congratulations on winning a third straight championship, this one in Division III. And then in baseball, Cesar Chavez, you saw Division V champs, also McFarland, Division VI champs,
and then last
the
week's
Garces Rams, Division III. They were here last week. Those are your three baseball champions. So all we're left with now is track next week and golf. And it looks like all of our golfers ended their seasons at the Southern California Regional today in Pasadena.
Yeah, it was a tough meet there. It was it looked like even par was a breaking point to move on to state,
which is higher than usual.
Yeah.
Usually you got to be 2 or 3 under to get to state.
So Tyler Burns out of Centennial, he finished the top local kid, tied for 31st at 3 over. Jared Kinoshita out of Stockdale finished tied for 74th, 8 over. Blake Kinney out of Tehachapi, 11 over, and then Dylan Flajic out of Liberty at 19 over.
And par is 72.
Yeah.
So Tyler shoots a 75 to cap off his season. Jared Kinoshita, the area champ. Tyler, probably the most consistent performer all year long in Kern County, and the Central Section champ, of course, which is pretty special. Kinoshita was second, despite a hole-in-one. He finished second.
Yep.
Could have been first, but he couldn't quite challenge the consistency of
losing
Tyler
his
Burns.
ball in the first hole. Still was able to finish second.
That's right. So you sort of had those two extremes. That's golf for you. As Jim Critchlow could tell you, our thanks to him for joining us. Yep. Jim was gracious enough to join us and shed some light on
that's
a
his
lot
home
of the
course
things,
too. He's actually hit
River
2
Island.
holes in one on that 9 hole that Kinoshita hit one.
But he was able to come in and shed some light. I get questions all the time. What are they going to do about McFarland Cross Country? What are they going to do about one-site baseball championships? They're coming back to Visalia. What are they going to do about one-site football championships? We found that out today. So a really enlightening conversation with Jim Critchlow. Trevor, you're going to put something together for tomorrow's Californian. Yep. If you want to sort of see the summary of that, Trevor will have that for you in the paper tomorrow. And again, we'll be back with our big track and field state championship blowout next Thursday. We'll wrap things up for the school year, June 11th, 2 weeks from today. Our thanks again, Jim Critchlow, Central Section Commissioner, and the Cesar Chavez Titans baseball team coach, Scott Neal. We had Mario Lopez, we had Will Ruiz, and we had David Gill, all in studio, champions, all of them. For our producers, Chris McCullough and John Farrand, you're Trevor Horn. I'm Zach
You're
Ewing.
Zach Ewing.
We'll see you later, everybody. This has been BVarsity Live.
Bye-bye.